Salutare. Hello. Welcome. GM. All of that. Hello, everybody. This is a very, very special episode of Momentum. It is episode 3, but we're doing a special edition, which is the Andromeda launch party. While Robert is still fixing some code, I am today joined by my friends Adi and Mihai. How are you guys doing? From headquarters in Sibiu. What's up?
Hi, yeah, very good. Um, Glad to be here in the podcast for the second time, and excited to see Andromeda finally activated.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. I've heard that there's a party, a launch party, and I said that I like parties, so I should join this one. And about Robert, I think the legend says that he's still running. This is in regards to the very good time that he had for the marathon this Saturday, where we had more than 9,000 people participating. They received their very nice bracelets, and VeroPay did a very nice job implementing and bringing blockchain very close to everyone there.
I mean, since we're talking about it, since this is a very casual beginning, let's jump on that for a second. After this, I'll just let everybody know what's sort of happening during the show. We have about 60 minutes as a lead up. I believe the epoch change is at 08, right?
More or less, I think you blocked. But the epoch change should happen at 17 o'clock UTC. So more or less than 1 hour. So 1 hour from now, that's exactly what will happen. So until Lucas will return, probably we should touch a little on the agenda. I think I had the agenda here somewhere. Just 1 second. Usually he was the one handling the agenda. So yeah, we are going to touch on and Andromeda is going to be the main subject for today, given the fact that in 1 hour, how Lucas started to say, we the activation is going to happen on the mainnet. And by then, we would like to introduce you to why this upgrade is coming and why is it that important. What led us here? What's the story about, and how did we reach Andromeda? About the naming. Probably you remember that we had a different initial plan, and then we switched to a different plan so that we could achieve sub-second finality faster, which is coming with Supernova. Then having Adrian here with us, we will go through top 5 most notable improvements that will come with Andromeda. And obviously we will discuss about each of them and how those will set MultiversX apart from other ecosystems. And probably we will try some parallels to what other ecosystems are announcing to target
Okay.
for. So you're back.
I'm back. Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad the stream didn't drop. I just switched to mobile, but we're back. You're talking. Don't let me interrupt you. I'll ease back in.
Yeah, I was talking about the agenda, and I think I have 2 more points. We will discuss about what does it set up next and how this aligns with everything what is happening in the world. Like, again, we will go probably through AI and what does blockchain bring in support to the AI narrative and direction. We will discuss about speed, about latency, bandwidth, and so on. But now having the main host with us, probably Lucas, we can go with the informal and what you wanted to start with.
Yeah, I thought since we have an hour or so, we will have plenty of time to go into depth, obviously on Andromeda, but also there were some recent events that I think are pretty cool to highlight. Always cool to see sort of blockchain piercing through to IRL. and you guys just ran. Did either of you run actually, or were you just at the stands? Tell us about the marathon of a few days ago.
So there were lots of discussions about uh, going and running. I know I said usually I run, so usually I'm not that at the level of Robert. Like I don't know, he has like 4 minutes per kilometer for more than 20 kilometers. But I'm close. I initially I forgot and then I did not go anymore. But I participated. I was in the stand supporting the colleagues with bringing new people to MultiversX through X Portal by handing. We had a stand where we were handing drinks. There was a stand where we were talking about the technology and how blockchain applies to different use cases. As I was mentioning in the beginning, there was VeroPay with their system. Um, so the entire NFC system was offered by VeroPay, and all transactions were notarized, and we used Andromeda for it. So we used the DevNet just to make sure that everything runs smoothly, and we made a proof of functionality for Andromeda, and everything went well. I think they will publish some metrics immediately after this podcast or tomorrow, um, showing how many transactions we had, showing how many people interacted. There was a raffle as well, showing how many people participated and were onboarded through X Portal, participated in the raffle and were onboarded through X Portal. So yeah, I think we can discuss more after seeing the metrics.
Yeah, super exciting. And how important was it, or this is also just a like noob question, how important has it been in the past, I guess, how many weeks has it been since Andromeda has been on DevNet? How important are these tests? Like, how many patches did you push? How many fixes needed to be done there?
I think we had two official patches. So it was the first version, and then we had a patch for that, and then we had the second patch. But both patches were planned from the first version. So we wanted to bring in the improvements in two stages. Over the initial Andromeda. The first one was introducing some optimization on the storage and on the CPU usage, and then the second one, because it took a bit longer to solve that one. The second one was bringing some optimizations on the propagation latency, the block propagation latency. So I'm not sure exactly when we pushed the first version on the mainnet. On the testnet.
I think before Easter.
Was it?
No, was it well before Easter?
Okay, it was well before Easter then.
Yeah.
We pushed pretty soon the first patch, but then since we didn't want to add too much complexity on the second patch, we created a second patch in sort of like it was not backwards compatible with the first patch. So we had to go through a network reset so that we test the entire flow of what will happen on the mainnet when we push directly the final version. So this is the story. And for the second patch, again we had the solution ready, but then we found some other issues which we wanted to fix just before pushing them to the testnet / devnet. So it took a bit longer.
And this is the classical process that we have. So it's not only testing on testnet and the public testnet and devnet. As I was mentioning before, we have several testnets, private ones, where we run all kind of tests. We call them chaos testing, even though it covers all range of test procedures, and that helps us prove that the architecture and the design works as intended. And only afterwards we go with tests in public, where we invite, and this is a call for all validators to come and test on testnet when new clients are available. It's very important for everyone, and not only validators but also builders to test their products before going on mainnet, and for validators to test all kind of situations for the infrastructure before going to mainnet.
Yeah,
So
basically
let's
for the pub.
sorry.
Yeah,
No, go for it.
yeah. What I wanted to add was that for the public testnet, um, we regularly go there after, as Mihai also mentioned, after we had all the internal validation done, and it helps to have multiple other eyes and hands on the testnet, pushing transactions and trying different scenarios. This time, for example, on the public testnet, it was a bit of like we were doing the whole thing. It was our own activity on the public testnet. I think we had a bit of interaction from the community, but not that much. And this is also why it's I don't know. We need to somehow push this, that we this is why we have the different stages, and this is why also testing on testnet is important, because then if we move to devnet and we find there an issue, then it sort of breaks also existing applications on devnet, and it becomes even more complicated. It adds a lot of time for recovery on the devnet and so on, and yeah. So each of these stages has its own purpose.
Yeah, super interesting. I want to go back just because, you know, this is sort of the launch moment, but it's been a long time in the works, right? We saw the other day, I think 2 years plus, 9,000 engineering hours, 50 something odd thousand lines of code that
Yeah.
have been written. Like, where does this story of Andromeda begin, and how long ago, and sort of what was the reason that you guys needed that upgrade?
So just I want to say a few things about the numbers. The 51,000 lines of code imply only the changes um, on the protocol itself and also VM, not the probably hundreds of thousands of lines of code for tests. So this was very important because it's not like 9,000 hours were counted for the 51,000 lines of code. This is very important to know. And about the entire Andromeda thing, I think it is very nice to discuss also about the fact that releases were called before, like long time ago, on the intended month. Like,
Yeah, that was a big oversight for us, at least at the beginning. Like we were. When you do a release, since you need to move through all these stages, like you need to prepare the binary, have it fully tested, and then move to testnet, prepare the testnet, prepare the validators, run the tests on the testnet, maybe do some sort of challenge to break the testnet, and then move to devnet. So it takes like each of these stages has at least 10 days, or this is how we originally started. And since we from time to time we kept getting the idea that we want to push this as well in the same release. We need this really fast because I don't know who else really needs it, and we need to support the integrators and so on. And then we kept delaying, like the plan date we had one release. It was called RC release candidate July, and we had an internal joke that it got extended many months, and we were still working on RC July. Yeah. So this is why
1 to 2 weeks.
originally we decided we decided to change the namings so that it's at least covers the intention, like what is coming, not exactly the time.
and it should be easier for the community to engage. Like, how can you engage with the community saying, okay, release number 1.3.8, release candidate 138 will come in I don't know what month. And then after the rebranding to MultiversX, we said, okay, multiverse, let's go to the universe stuff, let's go to the stars and so on. And we came, I think Altair was the first one, if I'm not wrong. No, Altair was with the one with the Guardians.
I think was it Polaris?
Polaris,
Yeah.
correctly. And then we took one by one, and usually we plan ahead for 1 year and a half, 2 years, high level, and in detail for at least 3 months. And we had this planning up until Andromeda, which initially Andromeda should have been the improvement in latency, and it was announced the X day with the 3 seconds and
Yeah, it had one part because we had also for that different stages, but this one as well was like the first time it was announced was supposed to also decrease to I think 3 seconds.
3 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was initially the plan. That's probably brought some confusion to the community initially, but then I think Adi, you had a breakthrough how we could achieve the
Yeah. So the decrease to 3 seconds was initially because we wanted to push something faster on the mainnet, where you can see the improvement in latency. But then for the sub-second, initially, we didn't even targeted sub-second. We targeted 1 second.
yeah.
But for that 1 second, the precondition was that we push first, before reaching the 1 second, we push first the parallel execution inside each node to have parallel execution of transactions. And we actually also started working on that. Currently, we have a working prototype for that as well, a proof of concept more. But then we realized that going to 1 second or even below no longer needs the parallel processing. We can come with that afterwards. So we reprioritized moving as soon as possible closer to sub-second. For the why we did this change, because yeah, you might say that okay, you can do the same. You can go first to 3 seconds and then move to I don't know what else. But the parallel processing would have needed a lot of testing time. It's a bit more complex than what we've done for Andromeda, and it also needed some other, let's say, not compromises, but trade-offs. It requires some other trade-offs, which we didn't want to make before coming to sub-second. Now for the Supernova, with the breakthrough that Mihai mentioned, we realized that we can actually bring it faster. But since every different change, at least in the time duration of a block, requires more synchronization between nodes and between shards, it would have been a bit overkill to do it twice in a row. So we wanted to directly move to sub-second after Andromeda. This is why first we staged it like this. We reduced a lot the changes that we needed to pack in a single release, and here just focus on the consensus, because the consensus change was a really big change as well, and it had to, like, we've already seen how much time it took us to test it and cover all the edge cases. And then separately handled also the block duration cut.
Let's stay on this for a minute, right? Because there's a lot of improvements or changes coming to that. Mihai, you're wearing the Elrond hat. We've been hearing this is the biggest upgrade since the Genesis launch, right? What are, let's say the 3 to 5 most important improvements, or even like an architectural overhaul that is so significant, that makes this release in particular so significant for the network? And I'll start with Adi there, and then maybe you can add some thoughts.
Okay. So I think by far the most significant change here is that we can have single shot finality on every single block. And previously, as you know, the latency, even if you would decrease the round time, if you do not manage to solve this like in a single shot, you would always need to like the complexity is really high on solving forks and deciding what should be the canonical chain, what is the fork choice rule, and all these changes, especially when you need to synchronize multiple shards, which all can have temporary forks. So those confirmation blocks that we used to have before Andromeda and we no longer have after the activation, those were adding a lot of complexity on both notarization, especially on the notarization, but also inside the shards. Now, all this has like the complexity has reduced so much that we can do a lot more stuff during a single round, and also I think we also the this took or brought with itself also some changes inside the consensus, where we can also reduce the number of synchronization steps or communication steps between nodes. So I would say that this is the major breakthrough. Now the effect for that is that we have also decreased the latency by at least half with this release. And there are others. I can go through multiple such, but I will leave also Mihai to add something.
Yeah, I just want to bring into the attention of everyone that this is very important step that has to be done before reaching. Obviously, we will have an intermediary step, which is called Bernard, with A, Bernard, not Bernard, and then reaching Supernova. Without Andromeda and the huge change that the consensus suffered for this, we cannot achieve the subsegment finality. And here we should think about the initial, because you were mentioning the HAT Elrond, the internet scale blockchain. That was the initial narrative that we had. Still thinking about that and looking at the internet, like how many transactions per second does the internet need today? Well, emails. So if a blockchain would have to support the email traffic, it would need around 4 million transactions per second. If we would add to that the bandwidth needed for the Amazon CloudFront, we would add another 8 million to that. And then we can add the Visa payment systems like 65,000 or something, other payment systems like UPI in India, and global real-time payments like SWIFT, around 8,000 transactions per second, and also Google search. So in the world, there are around 200,000 Google searches every second. So adding all those, we could think about the floor of 10 million transactions per second, which are needed in order to support an internet scale blockchain. For that, you need a very performant, let's say, engine. And the engine is actually the client that runs on, in our case, more than 3,200 validator nodes. And that has to be as performant as it could be. And it cannot be only performant without being secure.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
yeah, I left out one of the most important things. Yeah, go ahead.
Because security, and we have seen in the late 2 weeks, I would say, lots of breaches and hacks that happened in the world. And with the growth of AI and AI adoption and the performance that AI can have and the context. So we have now models with more than 1 or 2 million tokens context for input. That means we will see more and more situations where people will try. People, bots, I don't know, whoever will try. Agents will try to find problems. And for that, you have to design software and an engine that cannot be penetrated. And yeah, that's that's probably because
Yeah.
on the security I wanted to add
Yeah. For the security, it was really big. Like this change was really big because it allows us to scale beyond the original. We used to have a cap on the number of shards we could have due to like how the forks could be generated
yeah.
and when we could finalize, because it was also a probabilistic finalization, and it also the several assumptions were made statistically on the or starting with the assumptions of how we are working, or what world our consensus is working on. And the assumptions we started from were the BFT assumptions, but using those BFT assumptions and the previous consensus model would only allow us to scale up to maybe 100 shards. And even in that situation, we also needed to increase the number of confirmation rounds once we go beyond a certain point, because otherwise it would not be secure enough to have, for example, metachain notarize a block that does not have sufficient confirmations. So in this case, bringing the one-shot finality and also on top of having the high number of validators inside the shard compared to other, let's say, other layer ones, allows us to scale much higher. Like we have checked also what would happen with 10,000 shards or even more, and it seems like it's pretty good, or at least the numbers look pretty good. Again, these are statistics. I'm not discussing here of let's say bribing validators to do stuff. I'm just purely mentioning the static numbers, as in condition BFT assumptions. But again, it's really great to achieve this. And yeah, I think it is the foundation we want to build on.
Very interesting that you mentioned 10,000 shards. I mean, going back.
Yeah, of course, we need to pass
That is
some
what,
other
that's 10 million
bottlenecks,
transactions.
but at least from a security perspective, we have that covered.
So about that, so we had demonstration or a demo last year in May or June when we had the sovereign shard. So that was the proof of concept, or parts of the proof of concept of parallel processing and what one shard will be able to cover as performance in a few months, let's say. And having 10,000 of those, that's crazy. I mean, I said about the floor, which is, I don't know, 15 million transactions per second, but you have a ceiling. Like when, I don't know, it's the prime day in the US with Amazon, they need, I don't know, a peak of probably 50 million transactions per second or something for the databases. You can cover that, you know. But yeah, this is just assumptions. Probably no one will need the blockchain as a pure DB. But now coming back to our situation, and thinking about what internet is, which is a public network of networks where we have the assumption that any person anywhere should be able to join and exchange information and services without big costs. You pay some costs for the service provider, but in theory, it should be with no censorship. Now, coming back to our situation, in order for everyone to be able to participate at 10,000 shards, and I don't know how many nodes per shard, you would need dozens of thousands of nodes. And it's very important that in order to keep the decentralization, for everyone to be able to participate in the network. And that's why it's very important to run this critical internet backend, let's say, or infrastructure based on blockchain, on normal gear. Like you have an old PC PC setup for gaming at home.
What is normal? What is not
Guys,
normal?
I found a decentralization maxi to join us on this conversation. Hey, Robert.
Perfect.
Hi.
Hey everyone, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah,
Yes,
loud and clear. I
All
mean, not that
right,
loud,
very
but
that's
good.
clear.
good. That's good.
Let's
You
talk
can
about
hear me
decentralization.
loud.
One of your favorite things, and maybe we'll bring in Robert like this, like the importance of being able to scale to even tens of thousands of shards, like we were just saying, or 10,000 shards, but while keeping this on low spec machines. Let's touch on that a little bit. Maybe Robert, your thoughts on like the importance of that and how that's going to work and how you guys manage that technically, because that seems to be something that very few other chains are even attempting.
I don't know why they are not attempting it. So, if there is like no decentralization, then there is actually no reason to be in the space. So, the whole blockchain space started with this kind of full ongoing life on decentralization and permissionless access for everything you build on blockchain, and for that to have truly permissionless access, you need, let's say, a machine in every single country, or more of those, because in case of censorships or in case of network state attacks, you always want some entry point into the system from which you can read or through which you can write into the systems. So I just don't understand why, let's say, after 15 years of technology and 15 years of blockchain, why is this kind of discrepancy between decentralization, and why are people still pushing for centralized services or centralized solutions when we can see that, from a pure cyberpunk idea, that you need to have thousands of nodes which are running. Anything less than 100, I would not really call it decentralized. So uh, in the thousands, it's a minimum, and we can see this because if you are right now in Eastern Europe, let's say we have all our freedom. In Western Europe, we have some kind of freedom, but in a lot of countries, people do not have all access to all the tools we have, or to all the social media sites, or all their financial assets. And the same can go on and on. And at any time, the countries can change their rules and then stop the access for the people. And then you need these access points to read and write into the system, and you need a bunch of it. And the best is when you can run that access point at home, and people can join the party through you or through any other thousands of nodes.
Yeah, at home, but not only. Like, think about that. Coming back to AI, bots already generate more than 50% of all web traffic, and probably it will grow. I don't know. I think I'm coming back to Amazon. They said that 50% of their code is already generated with AI, probably for testing. But I would say that in this case, authenticity becomes a paid feature. I mean, you would have to pay a very small fee, like or a tip or a fee for it. There, I think every mobile phone, or at least Canon and Nikon cameras, have this provenance standard C2PA, and I believe that in the future, in order not to develop AI content anxiety, just because everything what we are going to read, watch, or buy is will probably be generated, you would need some cryptographical design media at the point of the capture, and then you should be able to send it directly to a network like this. And given the fact that you can run a node for MultiversX on a mobile phone, and not a very expensive one, that also brings a lot of opportunities here. Still, probably with Supernova, not anymore, but
Um,
still.
Supernova, not exactly. So Supernova does not change the requirements. We plan to have some change in minimum requirements with parallel processing, but as well, I would say that at the moment when we will change the minimum requirements, those will still be consumer grade requirements. So like think 8 CPU, which is pretty common even now, and moving from I think we have the minimum requirements as 8 gigabytes of RAM right now, maybe increase a bit. Um, by the way, it's still working with 4 gigabytes of RAM, but don't use that.
Let me check the documentation.
I want to
Yeah.
interrupt quickly because I don't know if I can bring up the screen share or something, but we spent a little bit of time not just preparing this, but preparing a little bit of a surprise, like a little watch party that everybody watching this can actually join. A little bit of an experience. Only took us, I don't know, how much time did we give ourselves for this? Zero, as always. But parallel in
2 days ago.
in yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like somebody had an idea, and here it is, an interactive experience where you can follow along with the launch. Go to andromeda.multiversx.com, and there's maybe some surprises waiting there for you. Just wanted to throw that in, but now also throwing it back to you guys, sort of like, yeah,
The
go for
fact
it.
that the established connection is grayed out is intentional. So it will become active in probably 15 minutes. It should become active.
Exactly. Oh, maybe we talk about that for a tiny second here. The purpose of this website is we're gonna see if the network is actually still working once the Andromeda is live. Because I don't know what your confidence levels are. Maybe we'll do a quick round check in percentage of everything going completely according to plan and still working after that. But this is a live demo of sorts. And we made a little game where you guys watching can actually help us check if the network is still up and running and doing the numbers it's supposed to. And hopefully there will be some cross-shard transactions, and you can kind of have some taster of the uh, much faster finality. But like on that note, like how confident are you guys right now? You didn't seem very nervous when you joined the stream. Yeah, you guys are all, ready and confident this is going to work out. Robert, what's your percentage here?
I think that times before this, not on the mainnet, but in all kinds of test nets and all kinds of internal chaos scenarios, which are even worse than what we have right now on the mainnet. So the mainnet is like a really chill environment for this, and we have tried all activations and deactivations and restarts and everything on the, let's say, worst case scenarios. So this should be a smooth sailing. So I am 100% confident on this. But
100, not
we have a
even
few
leaving a
minutes.
fraction of a percent. Okay.
No, you
What about
cannot
you guys?
leave. We are in the blockchain world, so everything should be perfect.
How about you guys? Adi.
Me? Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that the chain will go as intended. Here I added as intended, as I know that there will be a missed block on every shard at the transition. But this was easier to implement it like this. Otherwise, we would have had to add a lot of more complexity. But anyway, I'm expecting it to be a smooth sail.
Yeah, and I will go with my colleagues. So 100% sure on this.
So if
But
I'm doing the math right, we're at 300% certainty. Is that correct?
I don't think you need to add the percentages.
Oh, I see. Okay.
it does
Okay.
not
That
work.
is not the math we use. If we would use that math, we would have some problems.
Yeah, this is true. And this is why I'm not in the engineering room. But yeah, let's get back to what we were talking about. So now, we're nearing. It's now about 20 minutes, I think, until we will see the upgrade live. You now have the opportunity, everybody, to join and actually test it right after that first block fails. Is that correct? Let's talk about that. What's up with that, Adi?
Yeah, so you know that we need to change the engine while it's running, right? It's the consensus, which is the one of the most important pieces of the engine. So we need to switch from different consensus rules to new consensus rules, and reinitialize with the new view of the consensus while the consensus is working. Of course, we could have made it also not lose any blocks, but it would have had added tens more hours. So it was the decision to accept one miss block at the transition to Supernova, but then have it everything smooth. Especially since this is like every time we need to add backwards compatibilities, transitions to new rules, new sets of rules. These are pieces of code that will only be triggered once, but then stay with us for a long time to come. We are actually planning on doing some cleanup of all the activations and the backwards compatibilities and so on, and prepare after Supernova a new fresh binary, because we can remove a lot of the complexity that was added during the years to solve these kinds of transitions. But yeah, currently it was not the time, because also cleaning up that sort of code, transition code and backwards compatibility code, it will take a lot of time to test, and again add more engineering hours.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, engineering hours and Andromeda, we have L. Andromedas the second with us. How are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I heard there's a party here, so I thought I'd just drop by. How couldn't I?
I mean, that is the point of a party. It's more fun if you join. Again, the invitation for everybody, you can actually sort of participate in this moment. Go to that website that's on the screen. You'll find some fun animations and maybe some fun things to do during the changeover. But yeah, Lucian, how are you doing? And like, what's your excitement level? And like, how much does this mean to you? Like, kind of reaching this point after quite a long time working toward it.
Very good question. So I think it's hard to comprehend the changes that are inside the protocol that are actually just flipping the switch to enable after the epoch change. Now, with respect to that, I'm confident that my team, our team, actually is doing an amazing job. But I still, on the same time, always try to at least walk you through the engine room. I mean, that's the only way that at any point of time people would be able to comprehend, understand, appreciate actually what's happening underneath. And I mean, the progress that the team has been doing over the years, and also the seriousness, also the regardless of times, weather, condition, sentiment, whatever we've been all feeling by scrolling X or Twitter. Those guys did not care about that, and they have pushed day and night. So I just pause here and just say first, deep respect for the engineering team, especially pushing this out. I mean, changing the engine and or supercharging the engine while the rocket is actually flying or in the space already since 2020. That's something that we, or mostly in blockchains, is not common, or at least it translates mostly to forks or other network. Rather, you just rather launch it a new network instead of changing the consensus method, changing the security primitives, and also going live and chatting and having a tea party while the entire implementation goes live. I mean, it takes a bit of madness or craziness. I was wondering who came with the idea actually. But very good point. I just shared the raw thoughts that I'm having actually when thinking about it.
Yeah, it couldn't have been me, this stupid idea and all of this. But I want to know, like, from each of you, maybe there's a moment also in the past months or years even, leading up to the breakthroughs that are now going to go live, that stands out to you, like, being in the drawing room having like a discussion, or being in the bathtub and figuring some stuff out, like some ancient people. Like, was there anything, whoever wants to grab the mic, that a sort of moment that stands out to you on the way here?
I'll give the mic to Adrian first, and then just
Yeah,
to
I guess there were several moments, like it was also kind of an incremental breakthrough. We came with also small steps, which added up to us being confident in trying to add more things. Like previously, we didn't even think about going sub-second because we were aware of all the operations that had to be fit into a very small round, how we could manage to improve those. So we took them one step at a time. And I would say at a certain point where we saw that, okay, we are left with mostly processing time during the round. So let's try and make it smaller, but also not to lose too much of the throughput. So I think from that moment on, it was a bit of a I don't know, thought power put into it so that we can find the best solution for it. But once we get the idea, we will find the solution as well.
Anyone else with experiences
You need to create some kind of sorry, I thought you. I think that there are like moments when you are in a room or you are within the engineering, and then you are start to think about like what is the main problem right now. Like when it came up about like Andromeda and Supernova, it was, from my perspective, it was an incremental scheduled transactions. So we first 25% of the time we were using for processing. Then scheduled transactions came, which added in such a way to have like 50% of the time in the processing overall. And then we said, okay, now let's have all the time for scheduled transactions. That would mean like, let's say 90 seconds, 90% of the time. And then, but how to improve that even more? And scheduled transactions was already something like an asynchronous consensus. So the step was in such a way that, okay, let's eliminate this, like not eliminate, but separate those two things together, consensus and the processing, fully separately, parallelize it completely. Then what are the problems you want to solve? How to synchronize these things, how to create a receipt, how to create an equivalence proofs, how to aggregate the BLS messages, all in all, together. And then for every such step, you are finding better and better solutions as the time goes on. It starts with one thing, then it incrementally it leads to some kind of explosion. That's how it was in my mind.
Yeah, thanks for bringing the scheduled transactions, because I almost forgot that we had that intermediate step. Like it was a bit of I was amazed that we didn't come with the idea sooner, because scheduled transactions was already the let's say the prototype for Supernova, and we had that since I think 2020. But since we did not put much thought into how to improve it after that, because we like sometimes when you start working on stuff, you also get sidetracked by all the other small stuff you want to add. Like we had improvements on the staking. I'm not saying that that's a small stuff because it was big when it came out. And we had all these other improvements like adding new features and so on that physically you do not have enough time to focus on something else. So once you try to figure out what is the most important thing that you need to do, then you start prioritizing the right things and check the things again and find the solutions.
I was gonna
Yeah, I
bring
think that
in
was
a new
like
special guest, but we might have some sound issues. Let's see. Sir Andromedas, can you hear us? Check, check. No. Okay. Well, we'll do some more testing back to DevNet for this one. Actually, so
I think that sometimes this kind of crisis, just one thing, sometimes of crisis would force you to make a breakthrough or to start think about something new, something which needs to step up your game. That you hit the limit and then the limit, the capacity is not enough. Then how to make it, let's say, 100x more better, and then if the same question would have been asked 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before, you would say you are crazy. But when you hit the ceiling and you have to break it through, then the ideas just start to pour in.
I think
Yes, yes, we're going live in
was gonna say it's
30
time to
minutes.
start a countdown, probably, right? And no better person to do it than Benjamin. How are you?
Gentlemen, sirs, just in time for the countdown. my new countdown. How's everyone doing? I mean, I could not be more excited for this one, and just looking forward to see the champagne pop.
40,
Provir-
40
yeah,
seconds.
40
Yeah.
seconds.
No, it's
Can
done.
we share?
No,
Can we share a
I think
screen?
we're yes, I think we're should be. Let me see if it's.
Very exciting. Yeah, you should be allowed to share a screen, and then I can bring it up on the screen here. But this is the actual countdown. Do we have the seconds? Does anybody want to take?
It's already
Yes.
done.
From 23, I think we should count.
All right, it is on
So
now.
we're
We're officially live, and officially on this website, andromeda.multiversex.com. You should be able to interact with the chain and see if it works. Maybe, yeah, Lucian, if you have your screen open and want to share it,
yes, definitely.
we can maybe
I
monitor the
already
code. Let
yes
me
yes
see.
already shared a bunch of
Gotcha.
stuff.
Here it is. Are we
Yes,
still live?
yes, we're live, and actually the nuances are increasing on all the charts. We see already that most of the I think the epoch change shifted or happened already on yeah, all the charts. Let me just try to zoom in and see. Yes.
Yeah, you can
So
you can
pretty
see
much.
there also the mist block.
Yes, exactly. So in practice, actually, what happens here is that in order to measure the entire or what changing the question, maybe what's the simplest or the most stupid version to measure what all those brains actually are building and putting together in the software. And if the assumption is that actually the blockchain would if it works 100%, it means that on every single round with in the past epoch, it should produce a valid block for every slot it should. So what it does actually, it just goes and say, okay, let me count how many rounds have passed in the new epoch, and then we also count how many blocks have the entire network managed to produce, and that gives the coefficient of so-called hit rate that actually says that over, like, if we look over a time span of one epoch, it had a hit rate of close to or 100% hit. So all the algorithms, everything planned, everything scheduled, actually it worked exactly as expected. But going back to Andromeda's, we're live. the chain just shifted and changed and optimized the finality inside. Let me just share maybe another screen just to give you a bit of
I see everyone is clapping and cheering and so on in a dev, in an internal, let's say, introspective dev way.
yes.
Yeah, we didn't bring the confetti. Let's see the new screen here.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Wow.
So
Wow. Pure beauty.
yes.
In this moment, I'm really euphoric.
Yes. Yep. Let me just scroll down a bit. So what we're seeing here is the log output of the binary of each of the node binary shared zero, producing epoch changed, notarizing, including mini blocks, smart contract receipts, yada yada yada. And same for shard one. Just going through the let me see. So shard ID2 going right, and then also meta chain going right. Amazing. So Houston, we have zero problems.
Yeah, successful
Yes.
launch.
Yes.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
Congrats.
Congrats, sirs, and network.
I mean,
Really,
I'll pass it
really.
to you, Benjamin. Like, what does this moment, let's say, mean? I mean, we can do it personally, of course, also, but let's start with the network. In your view, for formerly Elrond, now MultiversX with one-shot finality, like, what does that sort of mean for right now and for the future? And also, if you want to have like a personal word of what it means to you, like getting to this point after 5 years, that'd be wonderful as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see it finally live after so much effort and discussions and so on. It's absolutely amazing. And I could not be more, let's say, excited and focused at the same time on the next steps. Because I think, in some sense, MultiversX has been perhaps the most advanced blockchain in the world when it comes to scalability and decentralization. But what we've learned is that the market cares a lot, Mr. Market cares a lot about speed as well, in addition to scalability and in addition to decentralization. And so with Andromeda and Supernova, we're placing the MultiversX network at the very frontier. And a simple way maybe to translate this is, up until this point, in terms of speed, the network has been like a baby, crawling a bit and moving around and so on. With Andromeda, it has graduated, promoted to walking. And it walks strongly. You can see every step. And this is one-shot finality. You just have a radical simplification of everything we had up until this point. And with Supernova, we're transitioning from walking to running, like with maximum speed at the very frontier. So I believe that for every user and for every developer that has ever used MultiversX, Andromeda brings some very tangible and clear benefits, but you see them especially when you look a bit under the hood. Probably what you've discussed a bit with Adi, with Lucian, with Robert, with Mihai, was exactly how things look in the engine room. And now we've switched a bit, we've outlined the benefits for the users, the benefits for the developers, but the simplicity of Andromeda is greatly underrated, because we've taken a lot of things out to make this work, and now this prepares the stage for Supernova. So again, I think sometimes we look too much in the future, and this is just a great milestone that is done. We've mentioned it, now it's really done. and it's really live, and taking that in and enjoying the moment for one block, for one shot, and then moving to the next steps. I feel that's really really amazing, and I also believe that during the next few moments, hours, days, the community, the builders, the users will just be able to enjoy this new simplicity, while at the same time understanding that this is not the final step. I've said this before, and I'll state this again. I think we have so many things to do, so many other things to just build, to improve, and so on. It's really great to have a milestone done and appreciate it fully. And then it's also good to see how many other things are in place, aligned, and especially just closing the loop with Andromeda and with Supernova. It will feel not only that we're back in the race, that we're leading the race. And that is what I feel we should be doing always. And I'm happy to see things live today. I've been repeating this for the past, I think, 1 or 2 months, that Andromeda is really here now, that it's live today, and you just need to state it 30 times, like with the affirmations. You need to look in the mirror and state it, and then at some point you'll see it become a reality.
Yeah, amazing.
So
Maybe we'll just do a quick
congrats.
round.
Sure.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly. I want to pass it on back to the engineers, maybe just quickly, sort of like for Adi, Mihai, and Robert. What's sort of like the next things, immediate things you're focusing on right now? What's next after this upgrade? Maybe also a word of what it brings. I'll start with the headquarters and Adi, then Mihai, and then throw to Robert after.
Okay, so for the next steps, at least in the protocol team, we have the QA team fully focused on testing Barnard, which is the next release. And also, we are already in full swing with working on Supernova. We have simplified a lot the design, which will get us even sooner to have Supernova ready. But yeah, so it has also some tricky parts which need to be treated with care and tested carefully. But otherwise, I think we're already in full swing on working on Supernova, and this will be the next major milestone before the following one.
Yeah, I would like to build on top of what Benny said, and double down on how important.
Andromedius, please. My new name, my pronouns.
Andromedius, and how important this one-shot finality it is. And I would even go further and say that now the community will split into those who understand why and how important Andromeda is, and those who will understand how and why important Andromeda was after the Supernova release. So those are the two let's say parts. But for everyone, it should be clear that Andromeda proves that we can ship. So probably we slipped a week or two or a month, but the upgrade is live. We've seen it, that it works. The chain stands, transactions are being processed, everything runs as expected. Probably at the festival, people will feel it, as we had the marathon, and the marathon was on experienced on top of the DevNet, just to have the Andromeda. But Supernova fixes everything. That's why Bernard brings, let's say, a plus on the decentralization. So the on-chain governance will come. We are already started preparing the documentation and videos for all the builders in the community, because they also have to take care of their products once with the transition to the Supernova. that will be more interesting for everyone. I mean, the impact will be 10 times bigger when the supernova will happen. But those are technicalities, even though people will understand sub-second what does it mean and how it will feel. But that's what will enable payments, ticketing, and real commerce and enterprises and everything to finally click and say, okay, yeah, now it makes sense. Now, yeah, now it works. And this is what we have to build. Us as engineering, us as DevRel, us as MultiversX community, and the real hard work started 6 years ago, but it becomes heavier and heavier. And this is perfect. This is what engineering loves.
Nice. Robert.
I just recently finished like the Barnard upgrade and merging Andromeda to Barnard, and that looks good. So it will be a full preparation to launch that. On the other side, it will be a lot of effort on Supernova. So bringing everything from processing, from VM, from tooling for Supernova. That's one of the main focus. In the parallel, there are finished asynchronous V3. Maybe on the economic side, we have to, let's say, prepare the network for local dynamic fee markets to really scale on that part as well. Like the chain, like when we are in this kind of fast pacing, moving technology, there is like the end game, there is, I would say, no end game. It's just a continuous game of innovation and improvement all over or at every step. And also we are stressing a lot of AI agents to, let's say, have stuff faster and safer and in a more secure way. So that's the next 3 months will be again interesting, but the life doesn't end there. It will be always come something new and new and new and more and more and more.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much for the insight. I mean, maybe we'll do one more check on liveness here, Andromeda's the second, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with some closing thoughts. I'll try to bring up that screen again. Maybe again, just walk us through what we're seeing here and like what how you rate the health and is everything going as expected, etc.
Definitely. So maybe a good point would be the way, maybe just stepping out or zooming out a bit of the just simple context, what feature, what name it has, and so forth. Maybe just trying to visualize a bit what we do or what we work to get today. So think about like this. Let me just zoom in first. So most of the blockchains are just this, right? So what is pretty much a single threaded computer that just builds one block at a time and builds on top of that, and then pretty much the finality is built and given in within that single box, right? So that's pretty much the first step to look at. Now, if we zoom out, we figure out, okay, so we finally invented or added this kind of new computer that is from the single threaded or from the one thread, one CPU. Actually, it has multiple CPUs that parallelize the execution, right? Now, once we have that, the same path as general computer architecture, what we did actually was that we first invented this, but then we figured faster or more efficient way to coordinate the threads, to coordinate what goes where to be processed, and how we make sure that the data that is actually being parallelized or sent to processing, as in the video that we shared the last days into the factory, it always actually stays 100% correct, and it other data. Now, in order to do that, actually, that's what the finality was actually. So you have consensus and finality is actually just giving again the correctness or the guarantee that the data that you are going to move from left to right or in between the threads, so to say, it will 100% be correct, and at any point of time there won't generate any kind of corruption in within the state or in within the this supercomputer memory. Now, what in order to achieve that, it took a longer step, and it was I think, given the settings on which we started 7 years ago, 7 years ago, to build this kind of architecture, I think we proved and made a lot of progress. But because of this kind of progress and constant improvement, on the one hand, the technology improved a lot, latency improved a lot, and it will continue to improve. But also the brains improved a lot, and actually the effort continued to build that. We achieved that actually today, a 2x, or actually slashing first the finality or the confirmation of any single data that is being produced in between within each of those threads or shards is instantly final, and it can be communicated to the other thread that is ready to process, and in the next block actually it could immediately process, or that would be one of the the further upgrades that actually Adrian was mentioning that will come. So right now you produce here one, then after 6 seconds it's pretty much being notarized here and then sent to the destination, for example, which is the third block. So in practice, what will happen actually, it could look like that those will immediately in the next block be produced, will be included in the next block produced on the destination. So this is in short, maybe just to visualize here, maybe also zooming in case maybe let me know if I should just zoom in again. So what it does actually, in order to check the liveness and the finality of the network, is on the one hand you cannot see here, but there's a red dot which is measuring from a sample of nodes from mainnet the current nonce calculated or measured at the specific point in time, which should be last 5 minutes. We overlay all the data sampled. Actually, it will be pretty much equal to all of the nodes. Then and that actually happens on each of the shards. Now, if we go and zoom out again on the second part, which is actually the yellow, I think, or the blue line. So in order to achieve, or once the block are produced on the shards, they are being sent to the meta chain, and the meta chain includes a proof that in the next block that it has seen and included the header of the blocks produced underneath. So actually, if we count this kind of this subset of nodes, hey, what do you know about shard 0, shard 1, shard 2, and we overlay the data here, then we should have almost perfectly aligned data set that actually says, okay, those are in sync. And then once those blocks are being sent here again to the shards, and the shards includes the data received from the meta chain, they should be able to answer the following question: hey, what have I included from the meta chain that the meta chain says that knows about me, which gives the 100% finality. So that would actually just close the loop and confirm. So what actually happens today, if until now we had a broader or a larger data or time span until those kind of steps would have happened, now it just happens in I think 1/3 or even lower than whatever we had until now. So this is just in practice, zooming out and then giving the mic again. Sorry for the science corner, but I think we're allowed here, right? On this. This is one of the podcasts.
This is the podcast for it.
I
Yeah.
took over the other
This is safe
podcast. I
space.
think we're still gonna have some listeners after the last episode. But again, big congrats. Muting myself and dropping out. Again, pleasure being here.
Don't drop out yet. I want to pass it back to you one more time. I think we'll do a closing round though, because I think, let's say, from a technical perspective, we were able to cover quite a few things. And now just want to go like one last round of like sort of closing thoughts. This moment has happened. Congratulations. I was, like, I can just admire all the work that has been put into this, and really kind of amazing to see everything leading up to this moment. And it's live right now, and it's only the first step of many. And I just want to yeah, just some closing thoughts on the moment from each of you. This time I'll start with Robert, then I'll pass it to headquarters, and then we'll go to the two Andromediuses.
A moment about what?
I mean, you're
You
just gonna
haven't
say it's
finished your
time to
question.
build, right? So I can just say it for you, and then we pass. No, what's like closing thoughts on today, and sort of like next steps.
I don't know. The next steps are already in work, so I'm pretty happy that we achieved this kind of things. We were leading on sharding, and we are still leading on sharding, and then now we not let's say that we can lead on mechanism. That will be a bit that we could say, let's say, processing stuff around. Let's build. Sharding proves that everything from the internet can be put, and that's a beautiful thing to do, and everybody should do that. So use all these kind of AI machines. Make Google build a few nuclear plants to have their all the energy for the for the AI agents to work directly on the blockchain and build some awesome apps. That's the next thing to do.
Good
Amazing.
that the Robert doesn't run a mainnet validator on his laptop right now. It would have been awful. Your connection is unstable, Robert. But don't no worries, we forgive you. I hope you don't have a mainnet validator with you right now. Just
It's low spec. It's low spec.
No, but maybe I shouldn't have give some tasks for Jules.
Always building. Mihai, you're next, and then Adi.
Yeah, as I was saying, when when half the web is going to be bots and agents, I believe that the blockchain combo is actually the new organic label for digital goods. So the future is bright. And thinking about Robert, if a phone can validate a shard or a chain, I believe that censorship resistance stops being a slogan, and it will become actually a feature that anyone can access.
Adi, closing thoughts.
I don't know. I don't have anything very philosophical to say here. What I'm gonna focus on next is bringing Supernova as fast as possible to the mainnet testnet, and hopefully the next time we meet, we'll have another successful launch.
I think we will meet.
Oh, is it
then.
sooner? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Amazing. Lucian, your closing thoughts on today.
yeah, big, huge, as the president would say, huge step forward for the entire MultiversX ecosystem. I think, as mentioned before, we overclocked and superpowered this supercomputer that we built. Now, the challenge that I'm taking for myself, and I'll try to focus on, to make sure that those threads, those blocks that we produce, will get filled by 100% as soon as possible. That's how we will measure that what we are building will work, and it generates and produce actually valid and valuable data consensus around the world. That's my closing note. I'll take it. I'll take it on me, and also whatever's on me is on the team. So I'll just state it out. That's I think that's the next challenge besides all other ones.
Amazing. Benjamin, passing it. Sorry, I forget your new name, Andromedius, with a new profile picture on Twitter, I see. So that's also in the works. If you still haven't visited Andromeda.multiversex.com, you can participate in testing the network, see if it actually works, if this data that Lucian has been showing isn't fake. But yeah, your closing thoughts on today and yeah, the next days, I suppose. You teased us a little bit with some milestones and all of that the other day. So yeah, tell us next.
Indeed, simple milestones. Just focused on the next steps. But the big thing is this: Andromeda is now fully live. There is no excuse. All the people that are full with excuses, always coming up with something and so on, they have no space anymore. They cannot state the same things and quote them and so on. Andromeda is live, and it's a great step in simplicity. In order to really take things to the next level in a counterintuitive way, you first need to simplify to the maximum, to really take things out, to really put them in a way where once you have Andromeda, once you have Supernova live, interestingly enough, we're going to beat the top other blockchains in the world in terms of speed, just because of what we've done with Andromeda. The fact that we have the one-shot finality. So I'm very happy that the benefits of what we're discussing about are right now live for users and for devs. And then the next milestones are clearly Supernova, as we've discussed before, and Adi and the guys have mentioned. Filling in this block space, filling in the demand, making sure that we connect this great architecture with the market. And during the next period, what people will discover will be that there's a tension always to reach product market fit. This is why it's not only called product, because if you only need the product you have, it's product, market, and then fit. And you can see the tension there. That means narrative, that means simplicity, that means demand, that means revenue. And those are the hard things on which we want to always drum the beat, have the difficult conversations, and push extremely hard. This is why I'm going to the US again during the next few days. I need to be in the US because some of the things I don't feel are happening without us being in the US and having the relevant conversations. So very happy about this step today. For 1 second, for one shot, I can take it in and smile. And then with the next blocks, with the next breaths, we're just looking at the next great steps that we have in front of us. Congrats to the validators that have been very active. And people have seen that during the first day, in fact, everyone, like 96% of the network was already live. That's a massive like receptivity and alertness by validators from around the world. We initially wanted to actually broadcast all the validators as they upgraded, but then we thought it would have been a bit too much. But yeah, it's really great to see the people alive, the builders alive, the community alive, and the market is there. There is this massive return to fundamentals that is happening everywhere around the world. AI will just hit everything so hard that you'll see us basically discuss about the AI progress almost every day, almost every week, because I believe every company will sort of become an AI company or it will become obsolete. So we built the architecture, we're pushing it in the market, and now these are the milestones that give us the reset to become extremely relevant to the market and speak in a language that the market loves, the market already prices, and we're adjusting and adapting to that based on the feedback and the conversations we've seen. So just one good day with good progress and many more steps forward. Thanks a lot, guys, and community, and so on. And definitely see you on the other side. As Adrian said, if we don't meet again until the next release, we either meet only then or we make the release faster. One of the two. Let's see which one works faster.
Benjamin just took over.
Exactly. It's been a
Benjamin just took over the technical podcast, but no worries. You're welcome, Benjamin.
Thank you.
it's it's been a very good day for science. I think we can agree on that. Yeah, been amazing to see and feel your energy during this time and during the launch. And I think that's an infectious thing. And there's definitely momentum building on MultiversX, which is what we're doing here in this podcast. So thank you all so much for joining. It's been really fun. Congratulations to the team. Congratulations to the validator community. Really amazing job, as Benjamin just mentioned. Congratulations to everybody who contributed in their own ways, producing content, supporting, showing up every day, buying EGLD, all of the things, the small and big things that you guys do out there. Thank you so much. Please go and test the chain. You'll get a little reward, maybe a new PFP. You'll see probably all of us switching in the next few minutes if we haven't already. Yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody very, very soon. There will be new updates coming in the next few days and weeks and months. So it's going to stay exciting. And yeah, we're looking forward to talking to all of you and pushing forward alongside you. So yeah, thank you all so much for being here. We'll close the stream here and say goodbye. Thank you for being here, and talk soon.
Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Let's fucking go.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Cheers.